And we
It's
live.
happening.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, people? You know me. I'm Dweeze Nuts. You don't know me yet. I guess you're going to get to know me. You know the man sitting to this side. This is fantasy in session. I guess we're all part of the session now. This is a news you can use early in the week. We're going to hit you with waiver wires, injury news. We're going to tell you everything you need to know. Today is Tuesday, which means you're running out of time to get your waiver priority all set up and established. Make sure that you come out of this waiver wire Wednesday morning the winner in your league. It's very important, man. If you stop playing fantasy football, if you draft, you're going to lose every year. So these are the big moments going into a big injury week, a big bye week. Man, you got to keep playing. You got to keep playing.
Fact. A lot of people believe you win your leagues by drafting. I mean, that helps you.
Trash.
Right. But picking up on the waiver wire will also really win you your leagues. Having that guy putting up running back 2 or wide receiver 2 numbers from the flex is a must.
Unfortunately, there's a happy medium in here that I haven't found yet, Javar. Sometimes I go a little crazy on the waiver wire, and every week I pick up 4 or 5 guys and end up throwing away late season treasures. But it's fun. It's exciting. It's why we do this, so we can spend our time not working while we're at work. Instead, reading information about younger men than us doing things we could never dream of.
Right.
Okay.
And if you're not doing fab, you're doing it wrong, man.
You're doing it. You are. Yeah. Well, my home league does not do fab, and I've been pushing it for years. So instead, I've got I think right now I have 23 different priority drop this guy for this guy. But if I've already dropped this guy, then do it for this guy.
Right.
It's an absolute mess. It's an absolute mess trying to get it together. But we'll get to the guys that you're going to pick up in just a minute. Get to the guys drop in just a minute. Who knows what we're going to talk about? Apologize for the lack of organization on this show. Javar, you, Gabe, and I just got off the phone. It wasn't 10 minutes ago when we decided to do this. So we're just winging it today. We'll get some production stuff for you guys in the future moving forward when we get there. But the future is then and today is now. So let's start with news and injuries, right? It is early in the week. We're starting to hear about some of these guys, some of these really big names, whether they're going to be on the field or not. And it makes a difference. So let's start in Cleveland because a lot of things happened in Cleveland last week. Baker Mayfield fully tore the labrum that was partially torn, but he swears up and down that he's playing. I don't know if you've seen the quote today, but it basically said, look, man, I fucking decide if I'm playing or not. Nobody else knows what my body feels like. So I'm going to be out there, period. I'd imagine the coaching staff might have something to say about that. But I don't know if you're a coach in Cleveland and you sit Baker Mayfield when he says he's ready to play, they might run you out of town. So
yeah. No, I was just going to say, and with that note and with that information, knock everybody, all the receiving options, knock them down just a tad. They didn't have a high floor, but now they really don't have any floor at all, especially if Baker is battling through a shoulder injury.
Problematic. Odell Beckham might not play. Keep an eye on that news. Landry, obviously, we know. I guess it's DPJ out there, but he could catch a ball from anybody down the field. Unfortunately, whether it's Case Keenum on the field or Baker Mayfield, it doesn't look like we're going to have down the field throws this week, because if you do start Baker Mayfield as a coach and you drop him back 5 or 7 steps, then you're doing something wrong and you're definitely going to lose your job. Stefanski doesn't want to do that. So if he's out there, it's going to be 3-step drops at the most, quick releases to keep the defense off of him. In that same backfield, we know that Kareem Hunt is out. He's on the IR. He's going to be gone for a while. I'd be surprised if we see him again before the end of our fantasy season. That injury looked really bad. He cried all the way into the locker room. His partner in that backfield, Nick Chubb, they just declared him out a couple of minutes ago for the week, so he's not going to be playing either this week on a short week. I believe the news was some version of, they could have played him if it was a Sunday game. They would have felt good about playing him, but they're going to give him the extra rest. They're not terrified of Denver. Apparently, they think they can get the win without either of their 2 stud backs. So we'll get to that a little later on when we talk waiver priorities. But notable, Chubb is out. So it's good to know before it's waiver time, but you've got to do something about that if you were relying on him as your RB1. Some receivers worth mentioning here. Calvin Ridley's going to be back this week. Michael Thomas is eligible to – yeah, well – he's a Falcon, so don't get too excited about it. Michael Thomas is eligible to return this week. I don't know that he'll be on the field, but it's interesting to watch those people that drafted him and have been waiting. There's just been a clock somewhere in the back of their mind, just ticking away. He may be on the field.
I'm hearing week 8. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he's eligible this week, but who is eligible this week probably won't play till week 8. Jerry Jeudy, he was on the IR, right? He's off the IR. He's eligible to return. They're picking him off the IR, but probably won't play him. I think the last note I saw was he's 50-50, which is never a really good thing, especially a wide receiver come off of the injured reserve. So make sure he's on your roster. Make sure he's not sitting on your waiver wire. I picked him home league, only 75% owned, because he will be back and he will be a stud even on a bad team. It doesn't take much for a guy like that to put up fantasy production. At this point in Seattle, we don't know yet whether Alex Collins is going to be playing. Carroll refuses to declare him out. I'm real cautious, though, about everything that's happening there. Interesting note in the same backfield, Rashad Penny coming back off the IR this week. And there seems to be some confidence, at least in the beat writer scene, that he may be able to play. So, again, a name we're going to talk about in just a few minutes. But note, Rashad Penny, you've been waiting to play Rashad Penny for a long time, and he's going to have 2 weeks before he goes back onto the IR. So if you're going to get him, it's time.
You giving him 2 weeks before you go back?
Yeah, maybe 2.5. Okay, maybe 2.5 weeks.
I mean, it's a joke, but unfortunately, it's like that. Every time you be like, "Oh, Penny had a carry. Oh, he's off on the sideline getting looked at." It's like, oh man, become a nickel or something, man.
No shit. Speaking of the other side of the ball, Patrick Peterson to the IR. That's big news in Minnesota's defense. Hasn't really been playing very well anyway. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the receivers going up against that team. No longer have to face him. Let's see. Paris Campbell, foot injury after, one play, right? Great play. Here's another guy who can't stay healthy. Right now, Reich says the injury may be significant. This guy might be hitting the IR again in his very young career. Unfortunate, but that's the game these guys play. Dawson Knox out. Already we know that he's going to be out for a while. Did they add him to the IR? No, he broke a bone in his hand, though. So I certainly wouldn't count on a pass catcher to be on the field producing anytime soon with a broken bone. Did he throw a touchdown pass with a broken hand? Yeah, he did. Okay, but throwing the ball and catching the ball are two different things.
He threw a duck.
Oh, God, it was so ugly, man. It was very, very – he just kind of shot put the damn thing. But when you got muscles like he does, good to go.
I know one thing about the Colts. T.Y., he went out the game. It was looking at his neck. Supposedly, he should be good to go next week. So, there's somebody to watch out for on waivers, too.
You know what? Find somebody in your league. Make a side bet for a case of beer. Who's going to hit the IR again first? Is it going to be Rashad Penny or T.Y. Hilton? Because one of them will do it before we hit the halfway point on this season. I can almost guarantee it. Kadarius Toney, bad injury to the ankle on a guy that was really coming on strong. Again, they're saying that it could be serious. We don't know any more about it now. But if you did just go pick him up off your waiver wire last week, the week before, you're probably crying in a pillow at this point because you thought you had yourself a league winner. Let's just hope for the best for all these young guys getting hurt, man. It's been a really tough year for injuries. It's going to keep going. Unfortunately, that's just kind of how it happens. Add on top of that, all the buys happening this week to legitimate teams full of fantasy pieces. And, it's going to be sort of a scramble in your league. Before we get to the waiver wire ads that I'm going to suggest, I'll say this because I want to say this because I want people to hear it. In my home league right now, I'm 4-2, and I've got more players on bye or injured than I have bench spots on my team. So instead of dropping a stud, and we don't have any IR spots, instead of dropping a stud, I'm starting with a short lineup this week. Okay, I will be starting one less guy than you can this week. I am doing that fully expecting to lose, and I want everybody to hear this. That is okay. Mm-hmm. It is okay to lose on a week like this where a bunch of your studs are hurt. It's better to lose than to drop a guy that you want as your starter for the rest of the season.
Totally
I'd rather
agree.
take the loss because I didn't start a full roster than drop a guy that I think is a starter all season.
Totally agree.
If you're 0-6 or whatever, probably a different story. Kind of depends on where you are in your league. But I'm 4-2. Even if I was 3-3 at this point, long season ago, it's okay to take the loss and keep the guys on your team that you want. It might even be better to do that. Just get all your buys out of the way in one fell swoop.
I did that last week. I only had 2 quarterbacks in the super flex league, and Winston was on the bye side. Started playing there. Luckily, I still won, but it was like I didn't want to drop anybody. And then, like I tell people all the time, they'll look at their team like, bro, I have 4 players that have the same bye week. I have to trade them. I have to do something. It's like, you don't have to do nothing. That's 4 players that are going to be out 1 week. You may lose that week, but you're going to have them playing the rest of the year, especially if they're studs. You're going to have them playing the rest of the year. So lose 1 week and have them the rest of the year, you're good to go. You don't make the playoffs by going undefeated. You're going to lose games. So
I remember when I first started playing fantasy football in the mid-90s, like the worst thing you could do was not pay attention to bye weeks during your drafts. If you got 3 guys or 2 guys on your team with the same bye week, everybody just talks shit to you all season. Times have changed, okay? It's not the mid-90s anymore. It's okay. Just let it happen. It happens to everybody, so just let it happen, right? Draft everybody next season that has the exact same bye week, start 0 guys in that week, and then you don't have to worry about any holes in your roster for the other 16 or 15 weeks, whatever your season is. Right. There's a strategy for you. It doesn't have a fancy name yet, but it will come next week.
And also, you don't know your lineup, so you could be playing a weak team the week all your teams are on bye. It could be a lucky matchup for you. So, yeah, man, draft your team, draft your studs. Don't really worry about bias. It's only 1 week you'll lose.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the priority ads for the waiver wire. For those people that have some guys that they can drop this week and they're trying to fill some holes, whether it's, you got Zeke and you got Dak on the same team. Maybe you've got, like I do, I've got Dak and I've got Zeke and I've got Deontay Johnson and I've got Austin Eckler. I've got all these guys in the same bye week. Like if you can fill these spots because you can drop some players that aren't worth starting, do it. The first guy that we have to name on this list because of the news we talked about is Dearness Johnson. Okay, 3% owned right now in leagues. It's him and Demetric Felton going onto the field as the 2 starters. I think they signed somebody else off of the street, but I wouldn't worry about those guys. Last year, when Chubb and Hunt both missed time, Dearness Johnson stepped in, and he performed fine. Like, he's not going to blow your socks off, certainly. Nobody is on this offense this week, but he is going to be the starting running back at least on first down and second down. Demetric Felton, who is everybody's favorite, sort of like camp boys, like a fan favorite. Everybody loves him. 0 carries on the year so far. He's not going to get a lot of carries. He's certainly not going to out-touch Dearness Johnson, who's been on the team for longer, who has done this before. They get to play the Denver Broncos, who, if you just look at the bottom line, they look like they're real good against the run. But in the last few weeks, Najee Harris, Josh Jacobs, Latavius Murray, these guys all went double digits against them. I'm not too worried about that run defense. They're certainly not going to stuff these guys. You can get double digits, I think, with the Dearness Johnson as a decent fill-in piece. So he's probably going to be at the top of the waiver priority for me wherever I can drop something. Anyway.
Yeah, if you get this guy, you got to start him. When it comes to teams like the Browns or like Dallas, I really don't, look at the matchup because they're going to run the ball, or even San Francisco, they're going to run the ball. They have an awesome O-line, so they're going to be some holes for the guys. So you don't have to be that much talented. He should put up decent flex numbers. So you get this guy. You got to start him.
Don't go crazy spending because he's a literal 1 week rental. We know Chubb is going to be back next week and Chubb will be Chubb. Johnson will still get some work. But somebody that you can start on this week where you're probably hurting. Let's go other running backs here. These aren't necessarily in total priority order because there's some receivers I'd rather have, but some other guys, some running backs on this list for me. J.D. McKissic is probably somebody you should look at. We saw Antonio Gibson leave the game last week. I think he left the game a couple of times. He's got a calf and a shin now. I don't know if it's the same injury.
MRI on the shin.
It's it seems problematic, and I think at this point, at best, he's going to be on a snap count. He should be on a snap count. That's a right move for Ron Rivera, which just means more work for McKissic, who has already cemented his role on this offense. If he gets some of that running back carry work. Now, I know Peterson, the young guy, is going to probably step in and take some work too, but McKissic's the proven piece. Owned in 42% of leagues. Versus Green Bay, Khalil Herbert, we saw Chicago ran all over the place against Green Bay last week. Denver after that, then a bye. So you got a couple of weeks where you can probably roll out McKissic and be pretty confident. Maybe even a really good game script for that pass catching work for McKissic against Green Bay this week. And
if outside of Gibson, if Gibson plays, J.D. McKissic is still a decent pickup. He's seen 10 targets last week. And this is without Terry Scary is working through injury. They got Logan Thomas is on the IR and Curtis Samuel's on the IR. And I know Dominique Brown, he was battling some injuries as well. So J.D. McKissic has to step up in the passing game for this team. So yeah, I like acquiring J.D. McKissic, and I think you can start him this week too if Curtis Samuel, Logan Thomas, and Dominique Brown doesn't play.
Do you mean De'Ami Brown? Are you trying to say De'Ami
Brown? I keep saying Dominique Brown. If you don't know, me and Gabe, we salvage names daily.
Look, if you don't write it down, cue card, and you can't read it, and I can't blame you for getting it wrong.
I'm just using initials, D. Brown.
There you go, D. I like that for a good nickname for the boy. Yeah, you know what? Red zone work for McKissic, even if Gibson's in there anyway. It's been happening all year, so go ahead and do it. Another running back that I think you should add, maybe more a long-term guy than a short-term guy here, is Michael Carter. He was coming on, taking over that backfield work. He's 62% of the rush attempts on this team over the last 2 games they played. And then the Jets had a bye, so people forgot about this kid. I think he's owned in about half of the leagues out there, which means he might be available in yours. Take a look. Somebody to stash. Cincinnati, Indianapolis coming up in the next few weeks. New England this week. I think he's somebody that if you're hurting for injuries or you're hurting for buys or even as a flex spot, Michael Carter's getting enough work at this point in both phases of the game that you can probably put him out there and take a handful of points.
I love it. It's an ugly offense, but he's leading the backfield in touches. He's the best guy in that backfield. He'll lose the first tackle a lot. So I love Michael Carter tape. It's just offense sucks. But with injuries and buys, he's a good grab, and you will start him.
You got to dig deep. And then the last running back I think I have on my list, second to last, the last one that I'm serious about, is Rashad Penny. We talked about it during the injuries here. If Alex Collins does end up missing time, or again, if he's on a snap, that we know that the team and the coaching staff really like Penny. They drafted him year in and year out. They talk him up during camp, at least when he's available during camp. If he's back this week, we know he's off of the IR. If he's ready to play, and it looks like the coaching staff is confident that he's ready to play, I think they wouldn't have any problem sticking him out there as the lead dog in this backfield. So do that. And even if Alex Collins does get the okay to go, groin glute injury, this is a soft tissue injury on the bottom half of a running back's body. This is problematic. It's the kind of injury that one wrong tweak, and he's going to be out for the game. So I wouldn't feel too bad about Penny. If they say he's healthy, put him in my lineup, even if Alex Collins is there. New Orleans is a pretty good run defense, but this is another one of those teams where they're going to run the ball. They know how to run the ball. Travis Homer broke off a bunch of big runs last week. I'm not really worried about the matchup as much as I am just this offensive line. Who cares who's at quarterback? I like Penny as a pickup.
I like him as a pickup. Way to see him, DJ Dallas, Homer, whoever you think is going to out-touch and win the touches. Either of those 3 guys, I like them and put them on the bench as a stash just to see how things play out this week.
DJ Dallas is trash.com. I just bought that. I just bought that domain just a couple minutes ago while you were talking.
He looked all right out there the other night.
Content coming soon at djdallasIstrash.com. The last running back that I will say, and this is for them really deep leagues, Mark Ingram is available in 60+% of leagues. Arizona, the Rams, Miami, these are his next 3 opponents. He's taken over the backfield in Houston, 60% of the touches over the last 2 games. He's the only back to have double-digit touches in any game all season. He also has the 3rd highest goal line share of any running back in the league. 83% of that team's goal line work is going through Mark Ingram's hands. Only Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, and Austin Eckler have a higher percentage there. So he's a guy where you might be able to sneak some points out of here and there if you're in a really deep league. Maybe it's one of these dynasty leagues with 28-man benches. Go ahead and look for Ingram as somebody that you might be able to steal some points out of in the running back spot. And that's my last back for this.
I'm not mad at anybody when it comes to all these injuries going on and bye weeks. He's going to be on somebody's team starting in the flex at least for sure.
I mean, I've been starting him. Unfortunately, some of my teams are riddled with injury. Javar, just getting fucking destroyed out there. Watch your language. This is a family show. Let's talk wide receivers for a minute, shall we? Darnell Mooney, my boy, my Chicago Bear, the number one on them Chicago Bears, available in more than half fantasy leagues. I don't know what
That's
is
wild.
Terrified of Justin Fields. I don't know what it is. Go put Darnell Mooney on your roster. Tampa Bay, San Francisco, Pittsburgh are the next three opponents. And I'll tell you this, Tampa Bay has given up the second most points to wide receivers in the league. Pittsburgh's given up the third most points to wide receivers in the league. These next 3 weeks might be big weeks for Darnell Mooney. The offense is starting to look good. Bill Lazor is calling plays. He's not going to be giving it back to Nagy anytime soon. The day Nagy takes play calling back is the day he gets fired. So that's just going to stay where it is. Mooney has outsnapped Robinson in every game but one so far. He's tied or out-targeted Robinson in 4 games out of 6.
Wow.
He leads the team in targets, receptions, yards, 100-yard games, and yards per reception does Darnell Mooney. This guy is the number one.
That's crazy. Allen Robinson is out the door for sure.
If you want my take, I'm going to plug another show really quickly here because I'm all over the internet. If you want my take on Allen Robinson, last during the Monday Night Football game, I was on the TCK Pod show on the fantasy something. I don't remember what the fucking YouTube channel is anymore. They keep changing. Go look up TCK Pod on Twitter, and they'll tweet out the show for you. But I went deep. I did a deep dive into Allen Robinson and told you why it's safe to hold on to him and get ready to start him soon. But that does not take away from my love for Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney's a man. I said this in the offseason. They drafted Justin Fields because the thing that put him over the top was because Justin Fields is the most accurate deep ball thrower we've seen come out of the draft in 3 years. And they knew what they had with Darnell Mooney after he burned everybody on every play last season. They wanted that pairing to be on the field offensively. So those two are going to continue to hook up. Justin Fields is starting to look comfortable. The offense is starting to look pretty good. Mooney's going to be getting the work. Why is he available in 55% of leagues?
Tell me about it. He ain't available in none of my leagues because I got him.
Nicely done, sir. Nicely done. Here's another receiver that you should go get. Coming off an injury, Sterling Shepard steps right back into the role that he started the season with. 14 targets this week. We said it earlier, Kadarius Toney now out, likely out in week 7, probably going to be out a couple of weeks after that, the way that those beat writers are talking.
That's what worried me at first, but now if he's not playing, fire Shepard up for sure.
Do it. Kenny G, Darius Slayton, still very questionable for this week. There is a chance that you're starting 2 wide receivers for the New York Giants this week are Sterling Shepard and Dante Pettis. Go fucking put Sterling Shepard in your starting lineup. I don't care how bad the offense is. They like to throw it to him. And there's something about Dante Pettis that does not vibe with the NFL. So let's make this happen, people.
But I got to go somewhere. You definitely starting Shepard next week.
Stud. 10 targets again next week. I don't even know who they played. Did I write down who they play? Carolina this week. Carolina's defense started strong. They're falling off pretty quickly. Then Kansas City after that. That's the team everybody wants to play. Next 2 weeks are easy starts. Las Vegas after that, not as good a matchup, but still. Do it. Another wide receiver that I really like here, a little bit deeper. A lot of people on Twitter are talking about this kid right now. It's Jamal Agnew from the Jacksonville Jaguars, available in 100% of leagues going into tonight's waiver, whatever you call it. Tomorrow morning, my guess that number is going to be cut in half. 13 targets over the last 2 weeks for this kid, 7 and 6, right? 11 catches over the last 2 weeks. That's more targets in those last 2 weeks combined than Laviska Shenault, okay? It's 1 less target than Marvin Jones. When DJ Chark got injured and left, They tried for 1 week to put Tavon Austin in that wide receiver 3 role. It did not work, and immediately they pivoted to Agnew, who has this locked up. 61% of snaps for him over the last 2, only 29% to Tavon Austin, who is the next best. It is the Agnew show. He has the highest passer rating when targeted of all the players on this team. All the players on this team. That includes James Robinson. That includes whatever time they're rolling out there these days. I don't even know. He's better than James O'Shaughnessy, who's coming off of injury next week. But this kid is he's a playmaker. He's super fun to watch. A 4.34 guy. I don't know if you remember this from way back when, but when I watch him, like the name that jumped off the page to me is Eddie Royal when he played for the San Diego Chargers. Like super electric return man, slot wide receiver who knows how to use his speed, but also knows how to use his body. Great hands, an absolute insane body control. This guy was, believe it or not, in college, he was a run support cornerback who had some good ball skills. I think 9 interceptions in 3 years in college and at San Diego State, I believe is where he went. But he's learning the wide receiver role. They didn't let him do it in Detroit when he was there for 3 years. They're letting him do it here. Urban Meyer is learning how to coach in the NFL, and he's adapting, which I did not expect. And one thing that he's
learning how to be a coach outside of the football field too.
he's doing some work outside of the football field. It's not the kind of work that we support. I do support it on this show, married or otherwise. Just ask your wife's permission first. That's my advice. As long as she knows about it, it's fine.
That's it.
But yeah, look, go get Jamal Agnew. I think rest of season he's going to be really worth it. He's so electric.
I like him. I do have I'm spending some foul money to try to get this guy. He's looking like what we thought Shenault was going to be. He's taking on that Shenault role, and he looks better than Shenault at it. Shenault is dropping passes all across the field.
So disappointing.
And Lawrence is throwing the ball at least 34, 35 times a game, and he's seeing at least 6 of them. And Lawrence is looking better each week. So I love it, man. He's going to be a flex guy that a lot of people are starting each week, especially with the buys going on.
Love that. So let's talk about Jamal Agnew's old team, the Detroit Lions. Absolutely pitiful in the wide receiver room. But I do think I'm on Ra St. Brown. I'm on Ra. He's the Egyptian sun god, right? I think he's worth a look this week. 97% available. Some decent matchups here. Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, the LA Rams over the next few weeks. This is a guy that you have to be kind of desperate to go reach for, but I do think he's got top 20 wide receiver potential. 8 targets, 7 targets. Cephas is on the IR. We know he's not there. Yes, Khalif Raymond has out him, but I think Amon Ross St. Brown as a young player is probably better, and that will kind of come out in the wash as he gets more reps on the field. Really big question is just what can Jared Goff do? He's got to be able to play better. He got called out by his coach this week, so hope stuff turns around a little bit for that game. And I think Amon Ross St. Brown has opportunity to impress over the next few.
I like him, but I don't think his ceiling is as high because Goff is not going to throw, not going to throw the deep ball to the guy. So I think he can between a good 8 to 10 points per week. So yeah, if you're in a pinch, you got to start this guy. He's at least going to give you 8 points. That's what I like about the guy.
He's like my Mandingo deep reach for this week. Like you got to be real deep to make it happen. But if you can't, if you have to, then you do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Last receiver on my list here is a guy, again, from your home squad, Russell Gage, coming back from injury.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Kyle Pitts has kind of come on. It's in his absence, right? Well, he's getting some of those targets. This is a pick him up and put him on your bench and just kind of see what happens. Ridley's going to be coming back this week as well, so I certainly wouldn't start him this week, but 94% available. He's available everywhere. Some decent matchups coming up for that team as well in the pass game. Pick him up, stash him, see if he gets any kind of target role. If he's getting 6-7 targets over the next couple of weeks, then he's going to become flex worthy for you. But you don't want to miss out on a wide receiver 3 or a deep flex that is available if you've got the room to stash him.
Right. He's going to be free too. Nobody's really looking at Russell Gage. So yeah, I like that call just to pick him up, stash, see what he do. If you missed out on some other guys that you were looking out on the waiver wire.
Yeah, put him way down on the bottom. He's on the very bottom of that list of 23 things for me, right? So a lot of things have to go wrong for me to put Russell Gage on my roster, but I'm willing to do it if everything does. All right, so I'm going to hit you with one question before we get out of here. We're already 10 minutes later than we said we were going to go, but give me a trade target here. We're week 6. We're going into week 7 here. Who is it that you're looking at trading for, whether it's in Dynasty or just in your redraft leagues? You know, there's enough evidence out there to say who's struggling or who's producing right now. So who are you trying to get?
See, with all the injuries going on, I kind of look ahead. I like what you called out about Carter. I went ahead and I grabbed my Carter like 2-3 weeks ago. I just foreseen it. He was the better back and he was going to get most of the carries. So I like going to get this guy because he's not going to cost you much, right? So this is a guy, say if you wide receiver heavy, you just need a running back because somebody's hurt and going through flex. You won't have to give up your stud to get Michael Carter right now because he's not worth that much. So you can get up a lower player and get Michael Carter, who's going to be worth more than what he is now in 4 weeks or so. So I love the Michael Carter take, and he's the guy that I've been looking at. And I also been looking at Claypool. I was looking at Claypool before last week, and now he went out and he had a dud week. So now jump on this opportunity to go get Claypool for cheaper than what you would have had to pay in the previous week. He's going to be second wide receiver out there. He can go long. He can do the short intermediate routes. He can take a short pass to the house. So this is a guy you have to go out and get for the low right now because in a couple of weeks, his stock is only going to rise. And that's pretty much for me. I do have a question about the tight end land cold commit for the Bears. You are a Bears friend. Last week, he's seen 5 targets and finally caught 4 of them. Is it working? I think my guy is gone. Oh, no. My guy is gone. Well, that's the show, people. Check us out next week. You know what's going on. We're here every week, bringing the waiver wire, and the news for you to use. Please tap in. Oh, he's back. We're not done.
Just you started talking about Cole Kmet, my whole system just went fucking ape shit. Right. I am not a Cole Kmet fan. However, he's looking pretty good out there. He's running like a man when he gets the ball. Jimmy Graham has like 3 targets on the year. So if you're real deep, really struggling, if you had Dawson Knox on your team, maybe Cole Kmet is somebody you can go and get. I really love your Chase Claypool take here. What people don't remember, if you just saw last week as a dud, he's still coming off of an injury, probably not 100% yet. And anybody that can take that eye black and just like rake their face and play like that all game is a man that I absolutely want a piece of, either on my fantasy team or in my bedroom. But
he's the man of war.
Yeah, he's a stud. He's a stud. I will add to that list the guys that I'm going hard in the paint for, the guys that I'm spending everything I can spend for right now. Austin Eckler and Justin Herbert, my favorite offense to watch in the league. Both of them had really bad games, and now they have a bye, right? So you can start talking to the Austin Eckler owner in your league right now, and over the next 10 days, convince him that they're tired of having this guy on his team. It's going to be 2 weeks of no production. Maybe by middle of next week, you'll talk him into a trade. That's my plan anyway. It's going to happen, and I'm going to go win the fucking world. All right.
You got to be a slick talker.
Have we met, man? Come on. I got that snake oil. I'm ready.
This is true.
I'm ready, man. It's fine. I'm thinking about trading. I'll run this one by you. I'm thinking about trading Antonio Gibson, Kyler Murray, those 2 on my team.
I'm keeping Murray. I'm fine with trading at Gibson. He's getting injury prone, especially in redraft. But I'm keeping Murray. He's
a package deal. It's a package deal.
I get it, but he's the engine to that offense, man. It doesn't go without him, man. Yeah. And he got all those weapons now. All the people who have a name. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. It's hard.
You know what the issue is for me? I like that white quarterback. Something about that fine skin tone.
Well, you better go get Josh Allen, and I guess who's in the top. So it is like Lamar up there, Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, baby. Stud.
And Tom Brady. Other than that, it's Dak and
fucking Brady.
Right.
Hey, look, I think that's the show here for us, huh?
I love it. Good shit.
Pretty good show. I think my face is going to pop up around these parts a few more times here over the next handful of weeks toward the end of the season. I don't know if you're on TikTok. I don't know who's watching, but if you like that shit, I think I might even show up there. I don't even know how to spell fucking TikTok. Apparently, it ain't the way that the mouse does. But look for me everywhere. I don't tweet, but I'm on Twitter. Also, I'll just show up in your inbox here with Javar and the boys on occasion, I guess. Yep.
You did. Welcome to the team, Dweeze. We appreciate you bringing the waiver wires. People need this news so they can continue on this season and make it to the championship. Appreciate you.
You know how you know that I know what I'm talking about?
Fill me in.
Fucking books and the bookshelf behind me. I can read, people. Let's go.
If you want to hide it, put it in the book. So with that message, pick these people up out the waiver wire, listen to Dweeze, and read a book every once in a while. And have a great time. See you next week. Out.
Peace.